In this video, we'll be creating these adorable mini pizza box Valentines using this printable pizza box design that I created. And then to go inside the box, we'll also be creating these sugar cookie pizzas that are topped with candy and are surprisingly realistic. So we're going to get started by making the pizza box. So you can use any mini pizza box pattern for this, but if you'd like the patterns that I've created, you can get it at the link in the description. It's in my Etsy shop. And I made this so you can use a cutting machine or cut it by hand. I used a Cricut for this using the print then cut method, and you'll end up with these three pieces, a piece of acetate and then the box and lid pieces. And I'm just going to get started by going through and folding on all the fold lines. So those are all ready to go now, and we're going to start with the box piece. So first I'm going to take these side pieces and fold these two folds the other direction, so they're the opposite direction as the rest of the folds. So it looks like this. And then we're going to start on one of these sides. So I'm going to take this tab here and we'll be gluing it to the outside of this side. So I'm just going to put glue on the inside of this tab. And then I'll just line that up and glue that to the outside. And then I'll repeat that with the other end. So I'll take this tab, we'll be gluing it like that. So I'll put glue on the inside. And then just line that up and press it in place. Then we're going to fold this side flap down. So it goes like this, and we'll be gluing that tab to the bottom. So I'll lift that back up and put glue on that tab. And then I'll press that in place there on the bottom. So it looks like this, and then we'll just do the same process with the other side. So we'll be taking these tabs and gluing them on the outside. So I'll press that in place there, and then repeat that with the other end. And then once those are attached, we're going to fold the side flap down, and we'll be gluing that tab to the bottom. So I'll put glue on it. And press that in place. So the box looks like this at this point. And then we'll just take this tab that's on the back side and we'll bend that back so it looks like this, and we'll set that aside to work on the lid. So with the lid, I'm going to flip it upside down, and the first thing we're going to do is attach this acetate. And if you don't have acetate, you can always use a piece of a plastic bag. So I'm just going to glue half the heart at a time. I found this makes it a little bit easier to get it on right. So I just put some hot glue around the heart on that side, and I'll press this in place. And then once that's attached, I'll repeat that with the other side of the heart. So it looks like this. And I'll flip that back over. And now we can attach the lid to the box. So taking the box piece, you'll want to flip it over like this, so that tab is here on the front. And then we'll take the lid and we'll be attaching the lid to that tab just like this. So I'll put some glue on the tab. And then just press that lid in place, lining up the corners and the edges. So now the lid is attached and it looks like this. And now the last step is to glue this front flap on the lid forward like this. So we're just going to put glue here. And then I'll just press that in place. So it looks like this. And then you can bend these sides inward. And to close the box, you'll put those two sides inward, and then on the front, we'll take each of these side tabs and they will go in these slits that we created on the sides. So slide those in there and you've closed the box, and here is how it looks when it's finished and closed. And the next step is to make the pizza crust. So for the pizza crust, you'll just need some sugar cookies. And I didn't want to make them myself, so I just used this Sparkle Heart Sugar Cookie Kit that I got from Target in the Valentines section. But it would also work great to create the cookies yourself with a heart cookie cutter. Just make sure that your cookies are under 4 inches tall and wide. So the next step is to make our pizza toppings. Starting with tomato sauce, I'm using this red decorating gel that I got from Walmart. You can also use red frosting if you'd like. I like using this because it has a clear, translucent quality to it. For the mozzarella cheese, I'm using shredded coconut, and it's a lot easier to find flaked coconut, but shredded coconut works the best because it has a texture very similar to shredded cheese. And I was able to find this at Dollar Tree. To create the pepperoni, I'm using this strawberry fruit leather that I got at Target, and I was amazed at how similar this looks to pepperoni. When you open this up, you can see that one side has a finer texture and one side has a bumpier texture, and it looks best with that bumpy texture up. And then to cut out the pepperoni, I'm using this little heart cookie cutter that I got in a set of polymer clay cookie cutters from Michaels. So I'll just take this heart cookie cutter and cut a piece of this fruit leather out. And then once it's cut out, I like to just go around and smooth the edges just a little bit, and it ends up looking like this. So I just cut a bunch of those hearts and now they're ready to go. For the green peppers, I'm using this green apple Wiley Wallaby licorice that I got from Dollar Tree, and I found that this has a really realistic green pepper texture. So I just took this and very carefully sliced a piece of it off, and then I cut that slice in half, and then I cut those halves in half. And you can cut this into squares, but I kind of liked it best when I made them into triangular pieces, so that's what I'm doing here. So here is how it looks. To create the black olives, I'm using some black Twizzlers. And Twizzlers are great for this because they're hollow inside, so that kind of mimics the look of the olive with a hole in it. So I just cut the end of the Twizzler off, and then I'm using kitchen scissors to carefully go through and just cut slices of this. Be very careful not to cut your fingers. And they look like this. When I was shopping in the cake decorating area at Walmart for this project, I spotted these cinnamon crunch sprinkles, and I couldn't believe how similar that these look to sausage, and these are just the perfect thing to add some sausage to your pizzas, and you don't need to do anything with these, they're ready to go. To create the pineapple, I'm using this fruit slice candy, also from Dollar Tree, and this is kind of tricky to work with because it's pretty sticky to cut. But it does create some realistic looking pineapple. So I just cut a slice of this off, and then I took that slice and cut it into halves and then small rectangles. So it ends up looking like this. For the Canadian bacon, I'm using bubble tape, which has a pink color similar to Canadian bacon. So I'm just taking a short length of this bubble tape, and then I'll be using the circle cutter that came with that same little cookie cutter set. And I'm just going to cut circles out of this bubble tape. And I think this was kind of old bubble tape, so it was kind of hard to cut. but just do the best you can. And then once I cut those out, I went through and just kind of smoothed the edges out. So they look like this. And I just cut a bunch of those. For the tomatoes, I'll be using those same fruit slice candies, but I'll be using the red ones this time. And I'm just going to cut a slice of that and then cut it into squares. And this is pretty tricky to work with because it is so sticky. So if you can find an alternative, like maybe red hot candies cut into slices, that might work well also. For the onions, I found a store that had some jelly bean dispensers, and they happen to have these A&W cream soda flavored jelly beans. And these are really close to the color of onion because they are kind of cream colored, but they're also translucent. And I tried cutting this with a knife first, and the knife just kept sliding off the jelly beans, so I'd recommend doing this with kitchen scissors. Again, be very careful as you're cutting these and keep your fingers away, but I just cut this into a bunch of little pieces. So here are all my little pieces of onion. So now for the fun part, which is actually making the cookie pizza. I cut pieces of this red and white napkin to fit inside the pizza box. And then I'm using my sugar cookie, and then I'll just take that red decorating gel and draw an outline of the pizza sauce around the cookie. And then I just filled that in with more pizza sauce and smoothed it out with a butter knife. And then I sprinkled on the shredded coconut, added pepperoni, added the black olives, added the green peppers, and finally added the sausage. And it's totally up to you what toppings you use. I just thought these looked cute together. And then I put it inside the pizza box, closed it up, and it's ready to give away. And now I'll leave you with some stop motions I put together showing all the different kinds of pizza you can create using these toppings. And that's it for my mini pizza box Valentines. I just loved making these. It was so fun to come up with all the little mini toppings, and I hope you enjoyed making these too. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in seeing more projects from me, you can check out my Etsy shop or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.